Hi, guys. My name's Jason Wilde, and currently I'm 45 years old. But back in 1986, I was 8 years old. I was living in a very small town where I grew up called Napanee, Ontario. Now, back in 1986, kids ran freely through backyards. We lived in a semi rural area. So my backyard of my family's home went down to the Napanee River. It was a bunch of huge fields with apple orchards in them. So I remember that day. I think it was September of 1986, and two of my neighbor friends, who were brothers, they were 1 year apart. We were wandering around in the apple orchard, and we were down by the river. We were looking for frogs and turtles, and I can actually still remember the smell of the apples in the air. We were wandering around, and I don't remember who noticed it first, but one of us looked up, and we noticed, I would estimate probably about maybe 40 feet off the water it looked like about a 30-foot long oblong shape, almost egg shaped, but longer, more elongated. A gray, polished stone like object, hovering, just sitting there, doing nothing. It had no seams, no rivets. It almost looked like if you put a rock in a rock tumbler and you tumbled it for a few days. It has kind of like a dull polish to it, but doesn't shine. But yet there was an indication that it just looked like rock for some reason. It looked like a piece of rock. So we sat there and we stared at it. It made no sound. It didn't move anywhere. It just hovered. And I don't know about the other boys, but I started to notice like a vibration or a buzzing sensation. Kind of like right in my head, not really in my ears, but I could just feel it inside of my head. I can estimate we looked at the object for about 10 minutes, and I blacked out. The other two boys have said that they blacked out as well. They remember just being at home in their bedroom. Me, on the other hand, I was found about an hour to 2 hours later by my parents. My parents found me wandering in the field. I wasn't laying down. They said I was staring. I looked confused. They asked me what happened. I told them about the object. My parents are pretty open, but they were quite religious, or are quite religious. And so they just kind of did nothing about it. Since that time, me and the other two boys, we had never spoke about this incident really ever again until about 2 or 3 months ago. Well, I contacted the now adult boys. They're now in their 40s, and they confirmed that they remember it. They didn't want to go into any more details. They said it felt weird talking about it. Since that time, I mean, I've had multiple nightmares, just constant dreams of nightmares of lights in my windows. Even at some points in time in the winter here, when snowplows go by, they have flashing lights on top, and I would wake up terrified, and I kept thinking that someone was coming to take me. I would scream and call for my dad, call for my mom, and I just explained to them that I'm terrified. I couldn't explain why. Now the lights don't seem to correspond with anything because there were no lights on the craft, so I'm not sure where all the fear comes from. But later on in life, I just kind of let it go. I still kept researching the phenomenon and the topic. I don't really mention it a lot to people, just for the simple nutter factor. Later on in life, I ended up taking a trip to Nepal and India, where I climbed Mount Everest, and subsequently I ended up staying in Nepal, and I ended up staying in India, where I spent probably about 6 to 8 months in ashrams and temples, where I started off Buddhist and moved into something that feels really comfortable for me, which is being a Hindu. And through meditation practice, since then, maybe in the last couple of years, really, I've been able to start communicating with what I call my guru. In specific, it's a guru without body. So his name is Neem Karoli Baba. You can look him up. Take this for what you want. I'm really uncomfortable even talking about this, but to me it's real. The phenomenon is real. I don't know what it is, but there's a level of consciousness and there's a level of intelligence. Is it harmful? Is it friendly? In my experience, through meditation now, I'm very calm and collected with the whole process, and I feel that it is positive. I know other people out there talk about the negative aspects of the phenomenon, but I think it really has to do with your mindset. When you produce compassion and loving awareness, and you speak from your heart and not your mind, the C5 experiences are very positive. The presence of whatever these beings are, they're always here, they're always around us. I talk to them almost like it's an imaginary friend. And their responses are either come right away, or they will come as like what I would consider a download, like a knowing, where you may ask a question and 2 or 3 weeks later you will get a download where you will just know the answer, and it's like a conviction. You know it. So really, that's my story, guys. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of details of what happened to me. Now, subsequently, I am a hypnotherapist, and I did become a hypnotherapist really because I wanted to help others, and that's what got me into being a MUFON field investigator, and then part of the MUFON mental health team, where I work with experiencers doing regression therapy. Now, knowing the mechanics behind it, it's very difficult for me to get any answers. But if anyone knows anyone out there that is very skilled and can get by those negative aspects for me, that would be fantastic. So that's my story, guys, and really thanks for listening. I appreciate it.